this and be mine.
Alright, what's up, Liches and Ghouls? Back to another video of Lich's Mastery. Logan, it's been a long time since I've made a Magic video. Kind of want to get back into making some more Commander videos. I haven't really got to play cards as much. I've been more focused on other things. Been trying to game a little bit more, as you can see with the gameplay videos of like Fear and Hunger and stuff. But that's not what we're talking about today. I kind of wanted to bring up a deck that I was playing. I kind of am playing right now. When I get to, pretty much. It's more of a, so it's not the best it could be, but it's more of a casually like zombie build. So I've had my eye on Scarab God ever since he was released in Hour of Devastation and Standard, and I never picked up a copy because at that time I didn't really spend a lot of money on Magic, and he was like really expensive in Standard. You can probably tell why. His effect was insane in Standard. There was whole decks built around him and everything. But in Commander, he's still about $10. That's high to me, honestly, but it's not really as high as it could be. But if you do end up getting a copy of him and you want to build him, he is pretty fun to build. He has, at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. You can pay 2 blue-black, exile target creature card from your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. Notice how it says target creature card from a graveyard, so it doesn't even have to be yours. So there's several different ways you can build this. You can just like mill your opponents out, or you can play kill spell tribal to like kill their creatures to reanimate them. You could play self mill to reanimate really powerful creatures in your own graveyard. It's just really cool. The thing to note is Scarab God himself is not a zombie, so he is a god, so he doesn't count himself in that, but he synergizes really well with zombies in general. Plus, the zombies you reanimate, well, you're technically exiling them, so you're creating a token copy, so he is even graveyard removal. You remove it from your opponent's graveyard, and you make your own token that's a zombie. It's an exact copy, other than it is a 4/4 and a zombie in addition to its other types. Actually, it's not even into addition to its other types, it's just a zombie now, in black. And then if Scarab God himself dies, you can return him to your hand on the end step. So it's a good way to get around tax. Unless they're exiling him, you usually want to throw him in the graveyard, because if he dies, you can get him back instantly. Or there's other ways to just reanimate him straight from the graveyard. Speaking of which, animate undead. Basically, it's a lot of weird text here, but basically what it says is slap a creature from your graveyard onto the battlefield, enchant it with this. That creature gets -1, -0, and if either of them leave, just sacrifice animate dead. Very straightforward. Just bring a creature back, and it's 1 power weaker. We got Apprentice Necromancer. He just you can play a black sack to basically put a creature into play with haste, and then you sack it again on the end step. Arcane Signet, generic mana rock. Aeromancer. Now, she herself is not a zombie, but like I said, anything that's not a zombie can become a zombie if you animate it, because you can animate stuff from your own graveyard. But when she enters, you just return an instant sorcery from your graveyard to your hand, so it's really good recursion of your instant sorceries. She's usually good in like a lot of blue decks that play a lot of instant sorceries. I got National's Altar in here. You can sacrifice a creature to add 2 colorless. I play Irit, the first of Lockwing. I was trying to build it. I was thinking about building her as an actual commander, because she just seems fun. I had her in when I was playing Standard before. I played during the Cat Oven format as well, where you threw cat. It's a combo. It was called Cat Oven. If you know, you know. But basically, whenever a black creature enters, each opponent loses life, and you gain a life, and you can sack your black creature to draw a card by tapping her. Really good. We got the Blood Artist, because we are sacrificing a lot of things. Things are dying constantly, so you can drain your opponents that way. Plus, what's as funny is like you can reanimate Blood Artist, and now he's a 4/4, so he can actually hit hard and still have that effect. The generic Buried Alive, you basically can throw creatures in your graveyard. You pick up the 3 creatures in your deck and throw them straight into your graveyard to just reanimate later. Burnished Heart, the Holy Beast that goes in every evil deck pretty much. Pay 3, sack it to get 2 basic lands into play tapped, and then you can reanimate it and do it again. We got Cemetery Reaper. Other zombies you control get +1/+1, and then you can exile creature card from a graveyard to put a token on the battlefield. It's more there for the +1/+1 effect. You don't, but yeah, the other effect is also an option. Cemetery Tampering. I like this card a lot. You hide away 5, which means you take the top 5 cards of your deck. You look at them, exile 1 underneath it, and then basically put the rest on the bottom. And then you can activate at the beginning of your upkeep. So during each of your upkeeps, you mill 3 cards. Then if there are 20 or more cards in your graveyard, you may play the exiled card without playing its mana cost. So basically you get a free card put into play, and even after that's triggered, you still get to mill. So like, even if this sticks on the board, even after you cast the hideaway card, it's still going to trigger that mill 3. We got Chain Devil. It's just when it enters, everybody sacrifices a non-token creature, so it's an aristocrat sacrifice type of way. I don't know why this is highlighted red. It's not banned. I actually got confused. I was like, looking, I was like, why is this card red? Like usually that means it's not legal, but it's legal. I don't know why it's red here, but basically Champion of Wits. The Eternalize, I mean, you're usually going to use, it's basically Scarab God's effect, but on him, on Champion of Wits, but for more mana, so might as well just use Scarab God unless you don't have that available to you. But when it enters, you draw cards equal to its power. If you do, discard 2 cards. So if you normally cast it or it enters some other way, you're going to draw 2, discard 2, but if it's going to be enter as a zombie, it'll be a 4/4, so you'll draw 4 and discard 2. We got Counterspell, just a generic blue counterspell. Curse of the Restless Dead. You can enchant a player, and then whenever a land enters the battlefield under that player's control, you make a zombie token with Decayed. Decayed is a keyword where the zombie can't block. If it attacks, when it's done attacking, you just sacrifice it, but still, it's more bodies. Plus, if you usually want to slap this on a green player that's spitting out lands like crazy, so you get all the zombies from them doing that, punishing them pretty much. Got Damnation, one of the best black board wipes. 4 mana, kill all creatures, can't be generated. Fiend Bonder. Now, this is one of the buried alive targets that I usually just throw straight into the graveyard. He does have haste, and he has to attack, but that's not the important part. You want him in the graveyard. Because basically, sorry, you can pay 1 in the black and exile him, and just put an indestructible counter on a creature. Usually make your Scarab God indestructible, just make it really a pain in the ass to get rid of. So we got Death Baron. Skeletons and other zombies you control have +1/+1 in Death Touch, so it gives all your zombies, even the reanimated ones, Death Touch, and a little boost. Decree of Pain, it's a really good board wipe. You just destroy all creatures, can't be regenerated, draw a card for each creature that died, so if there's a lot of creatures that died to this effect, you're going to draw a crap ton of cards. And then even if you don't have the 8 mana to cast it, you can still cycle it and then just neg-2 the board to kill a lot of tokens and stuff, and still draw a card in the process. So that was Decree of Pain. We got Demon's Disciple. It's another one. When it enters, everyone sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. So usually you have to do that yourself because it does say each player. So usually, most of the time, unless there's something else you want to trigger a death effect on, they're just going to sacrifice themselves, really. So like you can pay 3 to play this. Everyone sacks a creature, you sack himself, and then you can animate him with, if you have enough mana with Scarab God's effect, to bring him straight back. And then everyone's going to do that again, and you can just sacrifice your own cleric if you want to. We got the Demonic Tutor. I know this is a little of a pricey card, but I own one, that's why I'm playing it, but it can be, you don't need to play any tutors if you don't want to. Plus there's also the, what is it, Diabolic Tutor or something, where it's like 2 black, does the same thing. Just search your deck for a card. We got Dimir Signet. You're playing Dimir, so might as well. It's one of the really good rocks. We got Dire Grief Captain. Has Death Touch. Other zombies get a boost, and then when a zombie you control dies, you can target someone to lose a life. Why are you targeting me? Draugr Necromancer. So I don't show lands usually in my videos, but you do kind of want to play snow lands if you can. If you're playing these creatures, basically you play basic snow, swamps, and islands because there's 2 cards in here that care about snow. So basically, if a non-token creature an opponent control would die, you can exile it with an ice counter, and then you can cast it either using its colors or by using snow mana. So you can basically use your basic lands for any color to spend on your opponent's cards with ice counters on them. We got Dreadhorde Invasion. You know, I want to go back to this real quick. I wish he was kind of a legendary, because that would be kind of a fun commander. Just freeze your opponent's creatures and unthaw them on your side. We got Dreadhorde Invasion. So you lose a life on your upkeep and amass, which makes a zombie token, pretty much, if you know what the amass mechanic is. If you don't have an army token, you make an army token with a counter. And so basically it either gets bigger, or if there's none each time you amass, or if you don't have an amass one, you just make a new one. And then it gives all your zombie tokens with power 6 or greater lifelink. So basically if you reanimate something and make them really big, you can give them lifelink. Endless Ranks of the Dead. Basically double your zombies almost. At the beginning of your upkeep, put X tokens on the battlefield, where it's X is half of your zombies. So if you control 4 zombies, you'll make 2 tokens, etc. Ooh. we got Entomb, just a basic single black. Search your deck for any card and just dump it in the trash. We got Eternal Skylord. Basically gives all your zombie tokens flying, so everything you animate will have flying, and it has that amass mechanic too, where it makes puts a counter or a token into play with 2 counters, or just add 2 counters to a token you already have. Final Parting. Search your deck for 2 cards, dump one, and then add the other to your hand. Fleshbag Marauder is a zombie itself already, and when it enters, everybody just sacks a creature, period. We got Frantic Search. Draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, untap up to 3 lands. Really good draw card, and plus it's normally free because you're just going to untap the lands that you used already, and there's ways to even benefit even more. Like if you have a land that taps for 2 mana, you basically net gain a mana by using this. Plus it fills your graveyard up too, so you dump the cards out of your hand that you want to use later. We got a Gleaming Overseer. It has the amass mechanic, and then zombie tokens you have Hexproof and Menace. Now this is a game winner for you. You want to animate this with Scarab God, because it just says zombie tokens you have Hexproofs and Menace. If you animate it, you have a token copy of it, so it gains the Hexproof and Menace itself. So really, one of the best ways to get rid of your board is to board wipe, and if they don't have a board wipe, they can't. All your stuff has Hexproof and Menace at that point, and they can't even touch the thing that's giving it to them if it's a token. We got Gravebreaker Lamia, lifelink, and when she enters, she dumps a card from your deck into the graveyard. Spells you cast from the graveyard cost 1 less, but that's not relevant. So this guy's pretty cool. He's one of the creatures, the Corpseborn. He enters tapped, and he doesn't untap during your untap step, but you can sack a creature to untap him. And then he also gets bigger, so he's a free sack outlet. And then when he attacks, you can destroy a creature an opponent controls, then pump him again. Hero's Downfall, one of my favorite flavor text cards. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Destiny exalts a chosen few, but even heroes break. Hordewing Scab. Other zombies you control have flying, so it's another way to give your zombies flying, and this one even affects non-tokens. And whenever one or more zombies deal combat damage to one or more of your opponents, you draw cards equal to the number of opponents that have dealt damage this way. Then you discard that many. So it lets you filter and dump cards that you need into the graveyard. Plating has the amass mechanic, and then you and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Really good blue spell. I got Life's Finale. This is just a fun card. I mean, it fits the theme of the deck. It's not really the greatest, I guess, but it's a board wipe. But then you get to target an opponent. You get to look at their deck and throw 3 creatures into their graveyard. So the idea behind this is you need the board wipe, okay, then you get rid of their combo pieces and or cards that you want to animate from their deck. So you're like, oh, you have a Massacre Worm, and I kind of need to animate it, but it's in your deck, so this is a way to get it in their graveyard to take it later. We got a Lightning Greaves. Equipped creature has Shroud and Haste, generic in most commander decks. Equip 0. Liliana, one of the Lilianas, Planeswalker. She makes zombie tokens. She brings creatures back from the graveyard and destroys all non-zombies. And then the other one is the Dreadhorde General. This is the expensive one. It's always been, this is really high in price. Right here it says it's $17, but whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card, she makes a zombie, she makes people sack creatures, and then her ult is a win, is basically when you win almost, because each opponent chooses a permanent they control, sacrifices the rest, including lands, so like, they can keep one land pretty much, one of every type of permanent. We got Lord of the Accursed. It's another Lord that gives all your zombies +1/+1, but it also can give them Menace by paying 1 black and tapping it. We got Loyal Subordinate. As long as you control your commander, so as long as you have Scarab God and this on the field, when you enter combat, each of your opponents lose 3 life, and he has Menace himself. Speaking of Massacre Worm, this is just, it's not a zombie until you make it one. But it's just a really good token eater. When it enters, all your opponent's creatures get -2/-2 for the turn. And then if a creature your opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. So if they have like 10 tokens that are 1/1s and you throw the Massacre Worm down, they're going to kill all their tokens and they're going to take 20 damage, or 20 life loss. Meteor Golem's just a good ETB that pops non-land permanent, so you just pop anything on their board other than a land, and then you can reanimate it and do it again. Murderous Rider is a zombie itself, and you can kill a creature and then bring it back, and it has lifelink. Neferi is the other card that requires snow. Other zombie creatures you control get +1/+1, and then you can pay triple snow to put him back onto the battlefield. So he's just, yeah, you just throw him on the board by playing 3 basic snow lands. We got an overcharged Alamagram. He's one of your counter spells. He has flash, so he's a creature that you can just cast at instant speed, and then when you do, you can counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. So you just like say no to something by sacrifice, and he can sacrifice himself too. So if you don't have any creatures currently on board and you still need to counter something, just sacrifice himself. He still triggers. Phyrexian Arena. This card got cheap now. It used to be expensive, but during your upkeep, draw a card, lose life. We got Plague Crafter, another one of those ETB, everybody discard or sacks a creature or planeswalker, and then this one also has, if they can't, they discard a card, so they lose a card either way. Propaganda, if they try to attack you, they pay 2 per creature attacking you, mana-wise. Rooftop Storms, funny card, all your zombies are free to cast from your hand. Or if you have a way to cast them from grave, or anywhere, basically when you cast a zombie spell, you cast it for free. Sidisi's Vizier is a zombie, and it has Death Touch, Exploit. You sack a creature to search your deck for a card. She was one of my commanders that in an early video of the channel that I've actually posted on where I made her as a commander. But yeah, she can sack herself or anything. You search your deck for a card by sacking a creature when she enters. Sinister Sabotage is a counterspell, really good counterspell that lets you look at the top card of your deck after you counter, and then you can put it back on top or just throw it in the graveyard. We got Soul Ring, of course. Solemn Securactum. When it enters, get a basic land. When it dies, draw a card. You get the theme, you can reanimate it, do it again. Sir Conrad. I used to have him as a commander too. He was fun. I mean, he's really powerful. He deserves that $2 uncommon price tag. But when a creature dies, or basically when creatures are moved around from the graveyard, he deals the damage to each opponent. Plus, he has a little mill factor to himself too. You can pay 1 of black, but everybody moves a card. Tormod's Crypt Keeper. It's the creature version of Tormod's Crypt. It's just a Vigilance 3/2, but you can tap, sack them to exile a target player's graveyard. So if someone else has a graveyard deck and they're a problem, just take it away from them. Unmarked Grave, or animate them and do it again. Unmarked Grave, search for a non-legendary card, throw it in the graveyard. Victimize, sack a creature, return 2 creatures from your grave tapped. Vile Entomber is another one of those, when it enters, throw a card from your deck into the graveyard. He also has Death Touch, and he's a zombie on top of that as well. Wand of Orcus. This one came in one of the precons. It is kind of expensive, but it's just a good card for any zombie deck. Equipped creatures, the equipped creature and zombies. Whenever equipped creature attacks or blocks it and zombies you control gain Death Touch until end of turn. So even if you slap this on good old Scarab God, he'll gain that Death Touch until end of turn and give all the other zombies that. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that you make that many zombies. So hit with a lot, make more. It's really nice. We got, he's at Precon Commander, but he's in the 99 in this deck. Whenever a zombie dies, you make a decayed zombie, and then at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a zombie to draw a card. So he can make zombies, and you can sack them to draw more cards. And then lastly, we got a Cutthroat. Whenever Cutthroat or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses life and you gain a life. You're sacking your own stuff a lot, so where you're just going to drain your opponents out with this guy, and then you can make him a 4/4 after you bring him back. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, this is not the most powerful build, but it's good for beginners, or if you just kind of want a more easygoing zombie build. I love zombies. I love undead. You can probably tell by the name of the channel. I like necromancers and all that. And Scarab God, like I said, I had my eye on him for a while. I finally built him as a commander and been having fun with him. Just wanted to share it with you guys. I wanted to share some more card game stuff soon, but thanks for guys for watching. Stay tuned for more. I appreciate you all. Please sub. Appreciate you. Out.